Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Star Spinner Tarot by Trungles. There is a website, chroniclebooks.com, which is here on the back if you want to search that out and see what else they got going on. Supportive Oracle Cards, Magical Spell Cards by Lucy Cavendish, illustrated by Jesse Reisch. Reisch is R-E-I-S-C-H. I didn't see a website. Is there a date? 2002. Oh, wow. I didn't realize the deck was that old. 2002. Well, there you go. I was telling other people or other videos I was saying I didn't know how old it was, and I just saw the date on there, so in case that's of value to you. Ooh, that's staying there. That's fine. All right, let's see what happens here. Cause I'm like, I want to guess how good this is going to be. It looks. I know there's a really good card coming in. Let's just start. Safe Home Protection, your first card. Your attitude towards going into this situation. The reason you even have anything to do with this is it seems like it's to protect people that you care about, or it's for the benefit of somebody else. It literally feels like it's for the benefit of somebody else, and it's kind of like, this is what I want, this person means this to me, this is what I'm going to do, because I'm going to make sure that's going to work out. And you've decided that's going to work out, and this is why. This is totally why you're getting involved. And I'm getting like, this is something where you getting involved is changing the landscape of the whole situation. Because I'm getting new beginnings in the environment. I very heavily get that this is your influence creating this new beginning. Kind of like somebody else I care about is involved here, and I need to make sure this works out correctly. And when you step in to be involved, you change a lot of the landscape. I really do feel that. Because it's kind of like, no. I just feel you stepping in going, no, no. I just kind of get that look. Like, almost like there's a lot of wasted time. There's a lot of like foolish effort here. Like that's not even going anywhere. You're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. This is a slow process, so slow that by time it's kind of like, making something, like a baking analogy, like making like a cheesecake a month ahead of time and then leaving it in the fridge, and you're like, by the time you get to it, it's molded. You can't even eat that. Like, why are you doing that? I feel like that's how you're looking at it. Like, no, making it a month ahead of time, leaving it in the fridge, and then it's molded. Like, why didn't you at least freeze it? I feel like that's one of the things you're looking at. Like, first of all, you don't need to make it that early. Second of all, why didn't you at least freeze it? Third of all, it's spoiled. Like, that's stupid. I'm sorry, but that's how it came out. Like, that's just foolish. Why would you do that? I don't really use that word very often. That's kind of strange. I had a moment yesterday, too, where I threw out a weird word. Anyway, you're changing this again. You're kind of like, well, what we're doing, first of all, stop it with that cheesecake. Stop making that a month ahead of time. Like, seriously. We make it a month, make it a week ahead of time if you have to do it early, and then, put it in the freezer, I guess, and then take it out the morning before, like, at least so it's fairly fresh. And you got the energy, kind of like you're coming in here like, we need to do things different. This has got to change. That's not right. That's not working well. That's waste. That's a lot of waste. And I feel like the energy is clicking in. You're just pointing out, to you at least, a lot of this is obvious. Like, don't do that. Like, that's not right. That's not good. And I feel like that's what you're saying. Like, this isn't going to work. That hasn't been working. That's taking too long. This isn't, you could do that better. Are you taking a nap? Like, what are you just sitting there for? Come on, let's move. Like, if you're going to be here, move. Do something. But it's being received well, because it's making a lot of dynamic changes. And you have to argue with a few people. Leo is not afraid of a fight. Leo, Scorpio, there's a couple of you. A couple signs out there that are not afraid of a fight. You are definitely one of those. You're not afraid of a fight. So, and it's verbal from what I get. I feel like it's verbal. You're not afraid of it. You have to argue with a few people. But you're also going to get through, and you got literally the success card coming next. You're changing the landscape. People are pushing back. The people who are pushing back, it's like they don't have enough to really stop you anyway. And I feel like enough people are going along with what you're saying that it's kind of like the current of a stream or of a river. They can fight against it, but it's just going to take them away with it anyway. So they're going to have to get along and get on board with it anyway. I do notice it's the 10 and 5 of wands, so it's like, I think it's the way you got to handle it. There's a bit of diplomacy that has to happen here. I do feel like people frustrate you, and it's repetitious, calling something out repetitiously. I think that's why it's stressful when I'm getting that 10 of wands. It's not so much about the confronting, it's the repetitive over and over. Like, I said, don't do that. And then you have to come back the next day, like, I said, don't do that. And again, like the third day, you're like, I said, don't do that. And you have to keep coming back, and I think that's the 10 of wands for you. The fact that you have to keep coming back and you're like getting really annoyed with it until it finally starts flying right. I think that's what it is. It's the repetition. Kind of like, really, we've already talked about this. Come on. Do it the way you're supposed to. Success does come here. Literally, the success card does pop up. So you're gonna like, well, it's Leo though. Come on. Like, you didn't set out to fail. You set out to win, and you're like, I'm gonna. And that's how it is. That seems to be a Leo thing. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. You've decided this will succeed. So guess what? We're gonna succeed. Hold on, because here we go. Like, it may be rough, but we will. It's kind of like that. Even if it's rough, oh, we will succeed. People, when the success really comes in, it's when people realize, if you want to get along with the Leo, try work with the situation. Don't work against it, work with it. And they're realizing, all right, well, the Leo's here, and the Leo said this, and the Leo said that, and they might have tried to like not work with you for a while, but they finally realized, if I want my life to be good, if I want things to work out here, I got to try to find a way that this works with the Leo instead of against the Leo. And they're getting it. There's a very earth feel here with the Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. They're giving in to you because they know they can't stand against you. They'd like to keep doing it the way they were doing it. It's true. They can't. And they know it. They're not happy about it with the Three of Swords, but they're slowly changing over and accepting it. I feel like the slowness here is the acceptance. It's a slow period of acceptance, but they will get there. And they're not really understanding like if this is really a good idea or not. I don't know if they really believe in what you're doing, but they realize there's really no other way. So I feel like that's part of it. Like, it's hard for them to see the long-term benefit of how you're doing things now. For some reason, they're just not on board with that. If you're able to fill in that gap, this process could go easier. You might want to be very strategic about what and when and how much you say when you say it. Because if you just kind of dump it on them at one time, it's kind of like just a quick download. They'll probably remember 10 to 15% of what you say. So you might want to do it in pieces. That way you don't have to keep reiterating and repeating yourself. Little pieces, and then you might have to repeat some of those pieces as it is. But the more they understand, the more they see the end goal, the more they accept and connect with the end goal, like what we're doing now, and how that plays into the end result. If they can see it and feel how that really does connect in, they won't be so resistant once they understand it and really kind of jive with it, really kind of like roll with it, or kind of they can groove with it. Once they can groove with it and get it, they'll stop being such a pain in the butt. Face down card, what is it? Ooh, it's a good one. I wasn't sure where this was going, but it's the Ace of Cups. They just need to understand. I feel like this is a lot of it. Yeah. At some point, when you start filling in the gaps, and I feel like it's not like a secret, it's just like sometimes you say it and they just don't get it. It's just kind of like, it's like you're speaking another language. It just doesn't happen. When it starts to really like settle in, which is probably going to be more when they're in the thick of it and they're actually doing it the way that you need them to do it. When they're doing it the way you need them to do it, and then you're able to explain it probably again, it's like the application and the process and where things are going all seem to start to click in and start to kind of like add up where they're going. It starts to add up and make sense to them. When it really starts to make sense to them, I feel like that's when you're going to be very happy, because they're going to be more supportive because they get it. It just takes a lot to get them there. And I feel like you're kind of like, it's not a secret. You tell people along the way, it just doesn't click until the application is until it's actually happening. You know, it's kind of like explaining, I love baking analogies. It's kind of like explaining, like, you know, a really complicated dessert. You can talk about it and say, this is what we have to do, and we have to add this in here. We don't overmix it, don't do this. And when you're explaining it and you're saying how the outcome's going to be, like, it makes kind of sense to them, but, like, until it happens, until they actually have the end result and they're eating that end result, and then they're like, oh, wow, you're right. This was all worth it. Everything we did made so much sense. It's the way it tastes, the way it's fluffy, the way it comes together. Until they actually see that result, then they're invested in doing it the way you say. Oh, right, when we do this again, we got to do it the way the Leo said, because we want that delicious result again. But not until they get there. They just doesn't happen. They're not trying to be difficult. I just feel like they just don't believe in it until they see the result. You know? But once they see it, I'm getting the Wheel of Fate turns, the World is here, and Judgment. I mean, you had the Success card and the Ace of Cups, right? So you have good cards here anyway. I'm getting everything seems to turn. The Wheel especially, like the Wheel of Fate finally turns in your favor. The resistance is gone, is what I'm getting. The World is like we're going into a whole new phase. We're getting the Death card in the environment, like they're letting go of the past. They're accepting the way we used to do it didn't work. It wasn't working. It wasn't good. They're very connected with you at this point when they let it go. The Ten of Cups is like they trust you because the proof is there that they should trust you. The proof is there to the point where they have no reason not to. Like, oh, the Leo did say this would work out. I didn't understand it before, but clearly it's here. We had it. I had some of it. I know it's good. I know the Leo is right because I'm experiencing it with the Leo. It's kind of like proof is in the pudding. It's one of those things. They need to see the end result. The World comes in, the Judgment in your favor. We're going into a whole nother phase. A whole nother phase with this person. People, whatever is going on. A whole new phase is coming in. Justice is on your side. Justice is also balanced, by the way. You've learned the hard way that this person or people, whatever you're dealing with, they have to experience the outcome. They have to experience the benefit. You can talk to it, and it should be easier going forward, but you won't get that full support until this other energy experiences the actual benefit. Once they experience that benefit, it goes a lot easier. And it's always going to be that way with whoever you're dealing with, whatever you're dealing with, whether it's a situation or a person, because I'm getting, there's a lot of abundance here, but you always got to remember, it's going to be a proof is in the pudding. You can say, hey, we got to save up for the rainy day. And you're probably going to get resistance saving up until it comes to that rainy day and you're like, see all the extra money we have and see everything we're able to do because we saved that money? Do you see now? And they'll trust you more because what you say does happen. It does work out that way. So they'll trust you more as time goes on, but you won't have that full support until they actually see the proof. You got the Devil card here with the Temperance. They're going to slowly go forward with you. They're going to constantly be questioning you. The Devil card reminds me of Earth energy too, because it does reflect the Capricorn sometimes. They're going to be vocal. They're going to tell you when they don't believe in what you're doing. But also, they're going to realize when you do prove that you're right, they're going to like that proof. You're also going to have to remind them. You will have to remind them, like, hey, remember that time before where you didn't believe this was going to work out, and it did work out, and it worked out great? This is the same type of thing, and you're going to have to remind them. Remember that last 2 times when I said this is going to happen, and then it's going to work out great for us, and both times it worked out great for us? We're doing that again. You're going to have to keep reminding and reiterating, which I don't think Leo really cares for, but it's going to work here. This is just an energy, like, there's a lot of success with this energy for you, definitely. It's just realizing, like, this is how this is always going to be. Proof is in the pudding. always going to be a level of resistance until the proof is right in their face. And they're like, all right. And you're going to have to remind them, hey, we've done this 3 other times. And remember I told you and you didn't believe in me? And it worked out every time. We're doing that again. And then you go down 10 times. Like you're on the 10th, 11th time. And you're like, you'd think they just trust me at this point. And they're still questioning you. And you're like, all right, remember the last 10 times that we did this? And I said it was going to work out this way, and we had to do it all this way, and we had to do it at this speed, at this way. Remember when I said that? You didn't believe me, and every time we did that, it worked out great for all of us. We're doing that again. And it's kind of like, okay. That's just how it's going to be every time. They do seem to give you less and less resistance every time, but not. There's always going to be a little bit. There's always going to be a little bit. And I feel like you'll get used to it. You'll be fine. I get that. But just like, have the heads up. Just see it coming. This is actually going to be a very good connection for you. Very good. Very dependable. So that's good. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.